Let's welcome in the one and only Roger Stone, Republican political consultant, editor of StoneZone.com, former Trump advisor, and author of The Clintons' War on Women, which, Roger, I have to say, I heard Donald Trump, when he was talking about Hillary being an enabler and what she's did to the women who, Bill, as he put it, attacked, and he said, read the book. That's the book he's talking about, The Clintons' War on Women, so congratulations.
Yeah, I think Donald Trump's been very crisp in his presentation. The mainstream media, even Chris Cuomo at CNN, try to say that this issue is about indiscretions or marital infidelity or adultery, when you and I both know that it's about something far darker, which is to say, rape, which is to say, sexual assault. Because the fact here is, Steve, that this isn't about consensual sex. It's about Hillary Clinton being an accessory after the fact in the threatening and bullying and intimidating of her husband's sexual assault.
Right, and I have a lot more on that in my Gimme Five near the in the last segment of the show. The girls of The View undertook that. I watched Morning Joe today, and I watched Morning Joe, and Mika was near tears, saying Hillary's the victim. Of course, any woman would stick up for her man, and they never say that there were accusations of sexual assault. They all say it's about affairs. But let's move on from there. There was some big news.
No, I think that's exactly right. So we should introduce her. Minka should meet Juanita Broaddrick and hear what she has to say. A woman who was viciously raped and bitten by Bill Clinton in 1978.
All right, let's move on to something else now. And this is, I think, a huge development. We had heard that Ben Carson was in charge of, or at least a huge participant, in the vetting of vice presidential possibilities for Donald Trump's campaign. Today, we find out in a story that broke at the Washington Post that it's Corey Lewandowski who will oversee the vice presidential search. What does this mean?
Well, and then there was a subsequent Associated Press story by Jill Colvin in which Trump was asked about this, that discrepancy. And he said, well, I'm on the committee myself, so is Chris Christie. We're kind of all running it. I mean, the sad part here is that there are some people in Donald Trump's campaign who are working to elect him president, and there are other people more concerned with their position in the entourage and measuring the curtains for their White House office. It doesn't really serve the candidate well, but Corey Lewandowski seems to be on a course of self-aggrandizement. It's also announced that he's now in charge of raising the $1 billion that Donald Trump needs. I think he's oversold his role here. Does anyone really think that anyone other than Donald Trump will choose his vice presidential running mate? Does anyone think that Trump will not personally question the finalists in that process? So Corey is at the expense of Ben Carson, I think, who's been a loyal soldier. Corey is crowing about having the responsibilities of a clerk.
Okay, and he's doing it to promote himself, you believe?
Well, I just don't. I mean, Paul Manafort is a very solid guy. He has got his head down, and he is focusing on the hard business of electing a president. There's a handful of reporters, Ken Vogel from Politico, Robert Costa. These guys are gullible, either that or their participants in the constant aggrandizement of Corey Lewandowski. This election is not about Corey Lewandowski or Roger Stone. It's about Donald Trump and making America great again. I just think these things don't serve the campaign well, and they're mostly inaccurate. We heard, for example, in the New York Times last Friday reported that Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, and Corey Lewandowski would be involved in the transition. And then on Saturday, we learned, that would actually be headed by
Chris Christie.
Yeah. So just another example of insiders in the campaign more concerned about
would you like to see Lewandowski gone?
That's Donald Trump's decision. I've been in 9 Republican presidential campaigns. I have some sense of how this works. I would just like to see him serve his candidate better. My interest is in electing Donald Trump. I'm not looking for a job in government. I'm not looking to make a lot of money off the campaign. My interest is in saving this country, given the terrible threats that we face.
One more,
we really don't have time for amateurs. Corey seems like a nice fellow, but he's never actually elected anybody to public office in his entire life.
Okay, one more before we go to the phones. Ted Cruz left a door open today, or opened the door, saying that if he does well in Nebraska tonight, that he may restart his campaign. How do you react to that?
Yeah, I saw that. Look, I have to presume he's waiting for the orders from Neil and Jeb Bush. Because, in all honesty, he's not even allowed to burp without checking with the establishment. Ted's the Goldman Sachs candidate. He'll do what Wall Street tells him to. But I really think that this is beating a dead horse. Unless there's some kind of upset tonight in Nebraska, which I do not expect. Plus, I think Trump will romp in West Virginia, particularly based on his excellent position on coal and mining.
Right.
I think Ted Cruz is smoking something.
Okay, let's get to the phones now with Roger Stone here on the Steve Malzberg Show, 877 Newsmax. And first up, we go to John from Bradenton, Florida. Hey, John.
How are you today, sir?
Good. Say hello to Roger, too.
Hello, Roger. How are you today?
Excellent.
Go ahead, John.
The reason I called is I started out as a Rubio supporter, and when he bowed out, I followed over to Donald Trump as a clear majority. I feel that the Republican hierarchy is not doing what the people want. I think they should all go down to the Lincoln Memorial and read the Gettysburg Address, where it clearly states a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, not their own agendas, no matter what we want. It's wrong, and I'm ashamed to be a Republican.
You're talking about the establishment, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, that's a good point, John. Let me rephrase that into a question for Roger. Roger, what's going to happen on Thursday when Donald Trump meets with not only Paul Ryan, but other members of the Republican Party?
Well, I wrote an extensive piece on this in today's Daily Caller to kind of outline Paul Ryan's gambit. People need to not lose sight of the fact that RNC Chairman Reince Priebus is really a Paul Ryan acolyte. Some people mistakenly associate him with Romney and Romney's ignominious defeat in perhaps the worst presidential campaign since John McCain. But really, Reince is a Ryan guy. This is really about the money at the RNC, millions and millions and millions of dollars that Reince and Ryan want to hand out to favored vendors. So they are going to try to game plan Trump. They're going to try to barter Paul Ryan's endorsement in return for financial control and autonomy for the RNC, the Republican National Committee. That would be an egregious mistake, in my opinion. But this is part and parcel of the establishment effort to slow down Donald Trump. There's also a false supposition by many in the party establishment that Trump will be a drag on the ticket. Mark my words, Steve, those congressmen and senators who are talking about running separately from Trump will be the same ones trying desperately to get on the platform with him in October.
All right, John, I thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir, for the time.
My pleasure. Thank you. All right, Rich from White Plains, New York, who's not a fan of Donald Trump, as I recall. Hello, Rich.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Good, good, good.
Steve, I find it amusing to hear Mr. Stone.
Well, why don't Rich? Mr. Stone is here, so tell Mr. Stone you find it amusing.
Okay, Mr. Stone, I find it amusing to hear you accuse anyone of bullying and intimidation on behalf of Donald Trump when bullying, intimidation, and character assassination are the cornerstones of Trump's campaign. And my question to you is, how does it feel to be so hypocritical?
Okay. Are you off your meds today or what?
What?
Oh, pardon me.
Oh, what is it?
I guess that was a question. I thought it was a statement. No, I think the real hypocrisy is among those in the news media today who are saying, "Oh, Trump can't win because he doesn't have the support of the Bushes and Romney. He doesn't have party unity." While they are missing what I think is the most important aspect here, and the fact that Trump is bringing millions of new people to the Republican Party. So I think the establishment assessment of Trump is incorrect. I obviously reject your comments that his campaign is based on hypocrisy. And I hope you have a nice day.
And that's what conversation is all about on Newsmax TV and the Steve Malzberg Show. Thanks, Rich. Roger, stay where you are. More of your calls, 877-NEWSMAX, 877-639-7629. Don't go away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and I want you to know it's not just the phone where you could reach me here at Newsmax Television, but also on Skype. Skype me at Skype Steve Malzberg. You know how to spell it, just look at the screen, M-A-L-Z-B-E-R-G. Skype Steve Malzberg. It's all one word. Search for Skype Steve Malzberg in the search bar, click on my picture, and then the call button, and you could be on the show with me, and we'll see you. All right? Roger Stone rejoins us, Republican political consultant, editor of StoneZone.com. Yes, he was on the phone before he got stuck in the elevator. No, but he's here with us now. It's the magic of TV, and of course, former Trump advisor, author of The Clintons' War on Women. Let us get back to the phones and say hello to Michael from Oakville, California. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Good, good, good. Well, Roger's with me. What can we do for you, sir?
No, just the issues on the whole Muslim agenda. The new mayor of London was speaking about Donald Trump making stupid comments about the Muslim people.
Yeah, well, let Roger weigh in on that. I didn't get a chance to ask him. Folks, I'm talking about, Michael's talking about the soundbite I played at the beginning. The newly elected Muslim mayor of London had some harsh words for Donald Trump when it came to Muslims. What about it, Roger?
I want to thank the mayor profusely for helping in the election of Donald Trump. The more you tell Americans what they can't have, whether you're the Saudis, the Chinese communists, the Mexicans, the drug cartels, all trying to tell Americans, no, you can't have Donald Trump. This is precisely what is fueling the rise of Donald Trump, in my opinion. This is no longer Republican versus Democrat. Now it's the establishment, the failed Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama ruling class versus everybody else. This is the globalists versus the only nationalist candidate, Donald Trump. So I want to thank the mayor, because these kind of bitter criticisms only help aggravate Americans and win more votes for Donald Trump.
What about it, Michael?
Well, it always comes down to debates on scripture, Bible. Israel has always been God's children. There will be till the end of time.
Okay, Michael, I agree with you on that, and I thank you very much for weighing in, sir. Let's go to Carol from Vienna, Virginia. Hello, Carol.
Hi, welcome to Virginia.
Welcome to, well, Vienna waits for you, according to Billy Joel. Vienna waits for you, yes.
Yes, of course. So listen, thank you for taking my call. I love your show.
Thank you. Thanks for calling.
Now, here's what I'd like to say to Roger, okay?
Well, he's here. Say it to him.
Yes, I will. Roger, I was not a Trump fan. So there are a lot of issues that I realize I'm stuck with Trump right now, and that I need to have some kind of assurance that he is going to come across to me to win me over. All right? He's not the perfect candidate yet. And maybe we who want to vote for him but don't have a way right now of understanding how that's going to happen, maybe we can teach him how to become a better candidate. And one of these things is the gender bathroom issue. He has got to come around and change on that. This just scares me to death. If this becomes a nationwide thing, it scares me to death.
All right, let Roger address, first of all, changing Obama, whether it's tone or whatever, and then the bathroom issue specifically. Go, Roger.
Look, no, you can't put words in Donald Trump's mouth. I've known him for almost 40 years. He's his own man. Is he perfect? No, you're absolutely right. He's not perfect, and he'd be the first one to say that. He's not the perfect candidate. He's not even a pure conservative. On the four biggest issues facing the country, however, the ones that matter, he is the best choice for conservatives. Now, regardless of your position on transgenders using bathrooms, here's a fact that I think you will find indisputable. if the United States is incinerated by Islamic maniacs, there will be no bathrooms whatsoever. Those who tell me, well, I like Trump, but I'm worried about eminent domain, let me give you a hint. If we're hit with nuclear weapons, there will be no private property rights in America. So while I share some of your concerns, we're on the verge of being broke, or we are broke fiscally. We are only a couple of years away from hordes of Muslim mobs swarming the streets, attacking citizens, raping women and children, defecating in public fountains. We see this happening in Germany, in France. We have an interventionist foreign policy that's completely incoherent. The only thing that's certain about it is that it is expensive. And we have a trade policy that is leaving us at a multi-billion-dollar disadvantage. It's going to take toughness and leadership to change those things. I think Trump can do so. Perfect? No, absolutely not. Not perfect, but the very best choice in terms of what is facing us.
You sound like you've done this before, Roger. I'm very impressed.
Carol,
thank you, Carol. Really appreciate your call. Let's go out to Detroit Lakes in Minnesota and say hello to Mike. Hi, Mike.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malzberg.
Good afternoon or evening, depending on your perspective, and say hello to Mr. Stone.
Oh, my apologies. Good afternoon, Mr. Stone.
Okay, what can we do for you, sir?
So I'm a 24-year-old Navy vet and a millennial, and I'm voting for Mr. Trump.
Good.
Me and my grandmother watch Steve Malzberg all the time. We don't miss your show.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Mike. More importantly, thank you for your service, sir. You're a better man than I for putting on the uniform.
Well, thank you, Mr. Malzberg, for keeping us informed. I guess my problem tonight is with Ted Cruz getting back in the election potentially. I find myself, I can't support him because when I was in the service and he was shutting down the government, the amount of stress that it put on us that we didn't need. So for me, I can't support him.
Well, you're not going to have to, Mike. You're not going to have to support him whether he gets back in after Nebraska or not. You're not going to.
He can get back into the race if he chooses. His very bitter agents have been moving around the party. There is wistful talk of some attempt to hijack the convention in the Rules Committee. They could, I guess the establishment could try that. The Republican nomination would at that point, of course, be worthless. Ted Cruz has been rejected by the American people, I think, rather soundly. And his last days as a candidate, arguing with a 10-year-old kid in the street, getting into an argument with voters, shows that he doesn't have the temperament to be president. The puppet strings from Wall Street on him are very troubling. His lying about the secret sweetheart loan from Goldman Sachs, which financed his U.S. Senate bid. A man who will lie about that will, of course, lie about anything. Will lie about marital infidelity, will lie about his positions on the issues, will lie about voting for amnesty and then say he didn't vote for amnesty, will lie about voting for TPA and then say he didn't vote for TPA.
Is that Lyin' Ted you're describing?
That's why they call him Lyin' Ted.
Mike, I want to ask you a question. Are you aware there's a Military Times survey out today that shows that by 54 to 25, the military members surveyed support Donald Trump over Hillary, and by 51 to 38, Donald Trump over Bernie Sanders. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir. All my friends are Trump supporters.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Again, Mike, thank you very much for your service, sir. Really appreciate it.
You know, Steve, I think the military supports Trump because Trump supports the military. One of the most disgraceful things about Barack Obama and his predecessor, Bill Clinton, was the fact that they would never identify with our fighting men and women, just like they don't identify with our police officers, our firefighters, those who put themselves on the line. What was it that Chelsea Clinton said to her Secret Service agent? She said, well, you know, my parents call you the pigs. That's what she said.
Very quickly, a report that Hillary got $75,000 from Justice Department employees as contributions. And you know the controversy with Facebook. They wouldn't put organizations like Newsmax in the trending column. And $114,000 to the Clinton campaign from Facebook employees. 10 seconds.
Yeah, this is typical. What you have here is a mainstream media attempt to censor our point of view. Just like they don't want to talk about the truth regarding the Clintons. It's a blackout.
Roger Stone, great to see you, sir. Kristen Tate will be with us taking your phone calls. 1-877-NEWSMAX. Don't go away.